Welcome to the Daily Stoic Dose. Before starting this video, please subscribe for deep Stoic philosophy and advices. Most men believe attraction announces itself, a confession, a clear signal, a direct sentence that leaves no room for doubt. That belief is exactly why so many men lose women they never even realized wanted them, because attraction, especially female attraction, almost never arrives loudly. It arrives quietly, softly, in fragments, by the time a woman feels comfortable enough to say, "I like you." She's already liked you for a long time, and if she never says it at all, it's not because she felt nothing, it's because you missed the window. Men don't usually lose women in dramatic moments. They lose them in silence, in hesitation, in unrecognized signals that were never repeated, because here's the uncomfortable truth most men are never taught: a woman does not keep signaling forever. She tests, she observes, she offers subtle emotional invitations, and if they're ignored, she doesn't argue, she doesn't demand clarity, she doesn't chase closure, she detaches, quietly, cleanly, permanently. And by the time you notice her absence, she's already emotionally gone. That's why what you're about to hear matters far more than you think. Today, we're breaking down the unspoken code, the hidden psychological language women use when they're attracted but refuse to say it directly. Not the surface-level signs you've heard before, but the deeper emotional shifts most men never learn to recognize. This isn't about guessing, it's about awareness. Welcome back to Dark Psychology, Why Women Rarely Confess Directly. Before we look at the signs, you need to understand the mechanism behind them, because women aren't indirect by accident, they're indirect by design. And no, it's not manipulation. It's protection. Emotional risk is experienced differently. Men are conditioned early to face rejection. You approach, you risk embarrassment, you get ignored, dismissed, or rejected. Over time, rejection becomes familiar. Painful, yes, but survivable. It hardens the emotional skin. Women experience attraction from the opposite side. They are approached, observed, chosen. So when a woman feels attraction strongly enough to consider revealing it, the emotional risk is unfamiliar, and therefore heavier. Rejection doesn't just hurt, it shakes her identity. It creates internal questions. Was I misreading everything? Am I not desirable to him? Did I imagine the connection? So instead of stepping forward, she tests the ground, softly. Plausible deniability, the emotional shield. Psychologists call this plausible deniability. It's the ability to retreat emotionally without losing dignity. If she hints and you don't respond, she can tell herself, "I wasn't actually flirting. He just misunderstood. It wasn't that serious." Her ego stays intact, her vulnerability stays protected. This is why women communicate interest through behavior, not declarations. And make no mistake, the signs are not accidental. They are intentional, instinctive, and emotionally loaded. Let's decode them. Sign number 1, her mood changes when you appear. This is one of the earliest signs, and also one of the most honest, because it's hard to fake consistently. Life drains people. Stress, deadlines, internal pressure, emotional exhaustion. Most people walk through their days emotionally guarded, conserving energy. Now notice this: when you enter her space, does something shift? Does her posture soften? Does her voice warm? Does her expression lighten? If a woman consistently becomes more alive around you, more expressive, more open, more animated, that is not coincidence. That is emotional relief. You are associated with a positive emotional state, and here's something most men don't understand: women don't fall for looks first, they fall for how they feel in your presence. If being around you reduces her internal tension, even slightly, her nervous system starts associating you with safety and pleasure. That's attraction forming at the emotional level. She may not consciously realize it yet, but her body does, and the body always knows first. Sign number 2, her body faces you before her words do. Words can lie, the body rarely does. When a woman is emotionally drawn to you, her physical orientation changes without her permission. She turns toward you when you speak, her shoulders open instead of closing, her feet angle in your direction. These are trust signals, subtle, but deeply ingrained. You might notice her adjusting her appearance more often when you're nearby. Fixing her hair, touching her neck, smoothing her clothes. These gestures aren't conscious seduction, they're instinctive self-awareness. Her nervous system is activated. Another overlooked detail, the lingering smile. not the polite one, not the social one, but the quiet, relaxed smile that stays even when she's not speaking. That smile isn't for you, it's for how she feels around you. Men miss this because they're listening for words instead of watching patterns. Attraction is a pattern. Sign number 3, she becomes nervous. Even if she hides it well, confidence can be performed, the nervous system cannot. When a woman genuinely cares about your perception of her, small cracks appear. She might speak faster than usual, trip over sentences, laugh slightly too much, fidget with objects, adjust her clothing repeatedly. These are adrenaline responses, not anxiety, not discomfort, investment. Here's the key detail most men get wrong. If you point out her nervousness, she will deny it immediately, not because you're wrong, but because acknowledging it would expose her vulnerability. Your role in this moment is not to analyze her, it's to stabilize the emotional environment. Slow your speech, lower your tone, stay grounded. Women emotionally synchronize with the man they're drawn to. If you remain calm, she relaxes, and subconsciously, she associates you with emotional safety. Sign number 4, her digital behavior changes. Modern attraction leaves a digital footprint. No one is too busy for someone they care about. Interest reorganizes priorities. If her replies become faster, warmer, longer, more curious, that's not availability, that's choice. She may ask about your day, follow up on details, continue conversations that could have ended. This is called micro-investment, small, consistent signals of emotional allocation. Men often misinterpret this as boredom or politeness, but boredom doesn't create effort. Attention does, and once she starts investing emotionally, something else begins, testing. Sign number 5, her compliments carry a hidden layer. Women compliment differently than men, they rarely offer praise without intention. When she's interested, compliments appear in 2 forms, direct compliments, you look good today. I like how you think. You're different. Clear, but controlled, indirect compliments, the tests, you're annoying. But kind of charming. You think you're smart, huh? Such a nerd, in a good way. These are dual-layer messages. Layer 1, attraction. Layer 2, confidence test. She's observing. Do you stay relaxed? Do you take it personally? Do you lose composure? A man who handles light teasing without insecurity signals emotional maturity, and emotional maturity is deeply attractive. At this stage, you're no longer neutral, you're being evaluated. Transition to deeper signals. Up to this point, everything we've covered happens before attachment. What comes next happens after emotional investment begins. These are the signs she cannot fully suppress, no matter how careful she is, and this is where most men either step forward, or disappear from her emotional world without ever realizing why. Part 2, when interest turns into attachment. In Part 1, we expose the early signals, the subtle shifts, the quiet emotional openings, but now we move into more dangerous territory, because once attraction crosses a certain internal threshold, a woman's behavior changes in ways she can no longer fully control. At this stage, she isn't just curious, she's invested, and emotional investment always leaks. Sign number 6, she creates reasons to be near you. Time is the most honest currency a human being has. People protect it fiercely, so when a woman starts bending her schedule, even slightly, something deeper is happening. She won't say, I want to spend time with you. Instead, she'll say things like, I might be around later. I don't really have plans today. I need help with something small. Are you going anywhere interesting? These aren't coincidences, they're open doors. Women rarely pursue directly, they create moments where you can step forward without forcing her vulnerability. Think of it this way, she sets the stage, you choose whether to walk onto it. If she repeatedly places herself in your orbit, physically or socially, it's intentional. Attraction compresses distance, she wants proximity without exposure. Why women avoid direct invitations? There's a psychological reason women prefer indirect invitations. Direct pursuit removes emotional safety, indirect pursuit preserves dignity. If you don't act, she can tell herself, I was just being friendly. But if you do act, she didn't have to risk rejection first. This balance matters deeply to her subconscious, and if you fail to recognize these openings, something subtle but irreversible begins. Withdrawal. Sign number 7, quiet jealousy. the emotion she hates revealing. Jealousy is one of the hardest emotions to hide, and one of the clearest indicators of emotional attachment. But early-stage jealousy rarely looks dramatic, it looks restrained, controlled, disguised. You might notice a brief pause when another woman is mentioned, a slight shift in tone, a playful accusation, "You're such a flirt," a sarcastic comment masked as humor, sudden silence where warmth used to be. This is not insecurity, this is emotional possession forming. Here's the truth most men never hear: people don't get jealous over people they don't care about, jealousy requires emotional investment. And because she hasn't claimed you, and likely hasn't admitted her feelings even to herself, that jealousy leaks sideways, through jokes, through mood shifts, through micro-expressions. She doesn't want to reveal it, but her nervous system betrays her. How jealousy manifests without words. Watch closely for these patterns. She asks who a woman was, casually, but pointedly. She becomes more playful or competitive when another woman is present. Her warmth dips briefly when attention shifts away from her. She suddenly becomes more charming after perceived competition. This is her subconscious saying, "Notice me." Not because she wants attention, but because she fears losing emotional ground she never officially claimed. Men who miss this often mislabel it as moodiness. In reality, it's attachment surfacing. Sign number 8, she becomes shy around you, even if she isn't normally. This sign confuses many men, especially when the woman is usually outgoing, confident, dominant, socially expressive. Then suddenly, around you, she softens, her voice lowers, she speaks more carefully, she listens more than she talks, she becomes self-aware. Why? Because confidence disappears when the outcome matters. When attraction becomes personal, she starts thinking, what if I say the wrong thing? What if he loses interest? What if I seem too eager? So she restrains herself, not because she's disinterested, but because she's invested. Personality shifts like this don't happen for casual connections, they happen when emotional stakes rise. If her friends notice she's different around you, calmer, quieter, gentler, that's a powerful sign. She's emotionally exposed. Sign number 9, agreement, disagreement, and emotional testing. Attraction creates respect. Respect alters interaction dynamics. You may notice she agrees with you more often, accepts your suggestions easily, defers to your lead in small moments. This isn't submission, it's trust forming. But here's the twist most men misunderstand: sometimes she will disagree. Deliberately, not out of conflict, but out of testing. She's observing. Do you become defensive? Do you lose emotional control? Do you remain calm under challenge? These disagreements are not arguments. They're emotional probes. She's checking whether you're stable enough for deeper connection. A man who stays composed during mild challenge signals strength. A man who reacts emotionally signals instability. And women instinctively avoid emotional instability when attachment is on the line. So whether she aligns with you, or lightly challenges you, the key is emotional intensity. If she reacts more strongly to your opinions than others, your words matter to her. Sign number 10, she listens differently to you. This is one of the rarest signs, and one of the most revealing. Most people listen to reply, attracted women listen to understand. You'll notice, she remembers small details you forgot mentioning. She brings up old conversations naturally, she listens without interrupting, she asks deeper follow-up questions, she notices changes in your tone or mood. This is not politeness, this is emotional focus. Her attention has narrowed, you're occupying space in her mind. When a woman listens like this, she's already imagining you as part of her emotional world. Listening becomes her bridge. Her way of moving closer without stepping too far. Where men usually fail at this stage, here's where many men unknowingly sabotage everything. They assume, if she likes me, she'll say something. She won't. She assumes, if he likes me, he'll act. And if he doesn't, she concludes, he's not interested. So she protects herself, and protection looks like distance, the beginning of emotional withdrawal. This doesn't happen suddenly, it unfolds quietly. She texts less, initiates less, becomes emotionally neutral, stops offering openings, not to punish you, but to heal herself, because continuing to hope without reciprocation hurts. So she closes the door gently, and once closed, it rarely reopens. The window most men never see. Here's the harsh truth: attraction has a time limit. Hints expire, signals fade. Energy withdraws. Women don't repeat unreciprocated vulnerability endlessly, they move on emotionally long before they move on physically. By the time a man realizes what he lost, she's already detached, not angry, not bitter, just done. Transition toward part 3. By now, you should see the pattern clearly. Attraction isn't loud, it's layered. It unfolds through mood shifts, body orientation, nervous energy, time investment, jealousy, shyness, emotional testing, focused attention. These signs don't appear randomly, they appear when emotional interest crosses internal thresholds, and once that threshold is crossed, a countdown begins. Part 3, the moment attraction dies. By the time a woman stops showing signs, most men think nothing happened, no argument, no confrontation, no dramatic ending, just distance, and that's the most dangerous phase of all, because silence feels harmless, but silence is not neutral, silence is decision. Why women don't announce emotional withdrawal. When a woman pulls away emotionally, it's rarely impulsive, it's cumulative. Each ignored signal, each unrecognized opening, each moment where she hoped you'd step forward, and you didn't. Men often assume, if she had feelings, she would have said something. But from her perspective, she already did, not with words, with presence, with energy, with vulnerability disguised as subtlety. And when those signals receive no response, she doesn't fight for clarity, she protects her dignity, so she withdraws quietly. The internal conversation she never shares. Here's what happens internally, though she will never explain it to you. She thinks, I must have misread everything. He doesn't feel the same. I shouldn't have let myself hope. And instead of confronting you, she confronts herself. She shuts down the part of her that reached toward you. This is why when men finally make a move after the withdrawal, it often fails. Because emotionally, you're late. The exact moment attraction crosses the point of no return. Attraction doesn't die loudly, it fades when hope turns into emotional self-respect. The turning point happens when she decides, I won't invest energy where it isn't returned. Once that decision is made, her behavior changes permanently. She becomes polite instead of warm, friendly instead of emotionally open, responsive instead of initiating, and men misread this as, she's still around. I still have time. You don't, because emotional availability has already closed. Why you can't revive missed attraction. This is the part most dating advice avoids telling men. You cannot negotiate desire back into existence. Once a woman emotionally detaches, the version of her that wanted you no longer exists. She may still talk to you, she may still smile, she may still be kind, but the emotional door is closed. Why? Because reopening it would require her to admit vulnerability she already buried. And women rarely reopen doors that once cost them emotional pain, the dark truth about the one that got away. Men romanticize the idea of timing. They say, if only I had known sooner. If only I had acted differently. But from her side, the story is simpler. She tried, quietly, indirectly, safely, and when nothing happened, she moved on internally. This is why some women seem to lose interest out of nowhere. It wasn't out of nowhere. It was out of patience. Why women never explain what you missed. Men often wish women would just say, you missed your chance. But that would require emotional confrontation, and confrontation requires vulnerability. Instead, she chooses peace, she disappears emotionally without drama, and that's why men feel confused, not rejected. Confusion hurts less than rejection, so she gives you confusion. The Stoic lesson most men learn too late. The Stoic truth is this: opportunities don't announce their expiration dates. Attraction is perishable, and the men who succeed aren't the loudest or the most aggressive, they're the most attentive. They notice energy shifts, they read emotional signals, they act calmly but decisively, not rushed, not desperate, present. What high-value men do differently: high-value men don't chase signals, they respond to them, they understand. Subtle interest deserves grounded leadership. Emotional openness deserves clarity. Hesitation communicates disinterest. They don't wait for certainty, they create it, and because of that, women feel safe revealing more. The final pattern you must recognize: let's put it all together. A woman who likes you will light up in your presence. Open her body toward you, show nervous energy she can't hide, invest time and attention digitally, compliment and lightly test you, create opportunities to see you, feel subtle jealousy, become shy when she isn't normally, react strongly to your opinions, listen with emotional focus. These are not random behaviors, they are emotional disclosures, and they only appear when attraction is alive, the countdown you never see. Once those signs appear, a silent timer begins. She waits, not consciously, but emotionally, for you to step forward, and if nothing happens, she doesn't remind you, she withdraws. That's the window, and once it closes, it stays closed. The final truth: women aren't confusing, they're cautious, they communicate in emotional language, not direct statements, and men who learn to read that language stop missing chances they never knew existed. Attraction doesn't start with words, it starts with behavior, with energy, with subtle invitations, and now, you know how to recognize them. Ending message. Subscribe CTA. Hi. Retention. If this video opened your eyes, it's because most men were never taught this psychology, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. In the next video, I'll reveal why older men often have a silent advantage in attraction, and how emotional control and stoic presence completely change how women respond to you, even without saying a word. If you don't want to miss that, subscribe now, because understanding attraction isn't about tricks, it's about awareness, and awareness changes everything.